Good evening, my darlings. I hope you had a lovely festive Christmas and that you are feeling this push forwards that we're having today. Pluto returned to Capricorn. Pluto entered Capricorn on the 1st of the 3rd, 2023, the 1st of March. That makes 1-3. And today, the 3-1, Pluto entered Capricorn. So I just left this open here. This is in 1776. And that was the last time that Pluto was in Capricorn. So there we go. For some reason, I just clicked on here at 2-3. So I thought I'd leave that there to show you. But let's go back to now. So a lot's happened. I managed to get a video out to you before I went to England. I decided to take the Eurostar because I had thought that we were going to have, and we did the day before I left, we had the volcano explode in Iceland. And that's why I took a train, because I thought we would have plane strikes. So, you know, clever me, I went on the 21st. So let's go back and have a look at what's been going on since I've been away. And so on the 21st, we had Mercury completely blinded by the sun on his way back to Scorpio. Right in the galactic gap, we had a conjunction of the Sun and Mercury, and Mars, the ruler of Scorpio, at home, and Mars. So yeah, I told you then we had Mars at home, we had Venus at home in Libra, and there was a tunnel strike. So I was thinking this is really weird because everything seemed to be going along very fluently, although I was meant to have a young girl come and look after my animals, and she actually has sun and moon, sun in Virgo, moon in Gemini, so very affected by Gemini. She became poorly and could not come, so I had to find somebody at the last minute. I paid this somebody 500 euros, 300 to look after my babies and 200 to drive me to and back to the station. It's a bit dangerous to leave my car there, and ended up that my dog spent nearly the whole time shut in a room, and I had to come home to the most unbearable smell and absolute abuse to my babies. They were left in their poo-poo, which is all very Scorpio, money. So the girl couldn't come. The train, there were no trains, and there were queues and queues and madness in the tunnel, the darkness, Scorpio. So this is bowels, this is the bow of the archer. We've got Jupiter that rules Sagittarius in Aries, still retrograde. Jupiter has just moved forward, so we can really feel this lovely surge of energy. Jupiter's moved forward, just Uranus that moves forward on the 27th of January. And yeah, so we had the moon right in that Pisces in the abyss for the 21st. And we've now got, as I speak to you, on the 3rd, we've got the moon in Virgo. And I'm coming to talk to you today because tomorrow is the 4th. The 1st, so all for one and one for all, 14 pieces of Osiris, and we're going to have the moon right on the blue star Spica. So, and it's a half moon, a 3/4 half moon. The moon is waning after the full moon that we had on the 27th. So yeah, we've got a lot to look at. This is a very big day, and I know that I have to talk to you now, because I spent that week in England, which means that a week away from my house means an unbelievable amount of work to come back to. You know, I really have to keep on top. I did clean all my garden leaves a month ago, but by the time I got back after a week away, I really had to spend a lot of time. So as I said, I came back to this state. I had to take out the rugs in that room, burn everything, get rid of that smell, and I came back with flu. I hadn't had a flu for 7 years. I hadn't been ill, and I was unable to move for 24 hours, and then I had to get go because I had so much work. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much, because I have to pay back a little bit of my journey away, which costs a lot of money for me to travel, and just the amount that I have to pay people to help me all the time. So I'm so grateful, and I've got a very busy week, and I've got my daughter coming on Friday for 1 week with my grandchildren. First time they've been here since 2017. I was very disappointed that they came in the winter. I had pleaded with the grandparents to let me have them in the summer, but I'm going to make the most of it. I'm happy I got myself to England, and I have at least 1 week with them here. It's going to be -5, but we're going to make the most of it in my little cozy cave. And so I will have to get this video out now. And I will try and do a newsletter, but I have another reading tomorrow, another reading on Friday, and then my daughter arrives on Friday, so I will have done 6 readings in a week. But I'm feeling good. I have been preparing this for months, and I knew that I had to be doing lots and lots, little by little, so that I could really be ready for the arrival of my daughter. So let's get back to this. So this is the 21st, the solstice, that line. So we then have got this do-si-do that's going to happen. So Mars, the ruler of Scorpio and Aries, Venus at home, war and peace, Venus in a masculine high cardinal air, Mars in feminine fixed water, and the sun right on the dart of D'Artagnan. So I will be showing you, but Eurostar is in the angle of this Milky Way gap. We've got the northeast southwest angle, we've got the Bethlehem star I was showing you in the last video, this Gaza gap angle, the chemin de D'Artagnan from northeast southwest is exactly what they show us on that Eurostar, that angle. And as the sun was in that gap, that Milky Way gap, the tunnel was shut. So I knew that was going to happen. I told everybody here that I was going to get stuck in the tunnel, and if I don't come back. But I did come back, and I just couldn't get that train that day. So I had a massive suitcase full of presents and stuff, and wine and foie gras. I did manage to send somebody to England with 2 boxes of wine as gifts, but I still had a bit more in my bag. And so I was carting this case. I then tried to get myself to the airport, because I never thought that there would be a way under the tunnel. So I went from the station to Charles de Gaulle, no way to get on any aeroplane, and eventually found a little hotel which had a swimming pool, and the hammam was broken, of course, but it ended up being a good night to recharge in this hotel, and normally Eurostar should pay me back for that. So I had an adventure. I won't go into the adventures that happened to me in the hotel as well, but I literally cannot let myself out anywhere without serious adventures happening to me. That's why I just hang out here in the middle of nowhere, because I can't cope with the adventures. So the next day I was told I had to wait for 2 days to get a train, and in fact I found a train. I miraculously, second time calling them, I was just going to ask them about getting my money paid back for the hotel, and they said, well, we can actually put you on a train this afternoon. So I managed to get to England, and so yeah, let's stay to the point. So the whole Eurostar, I'm going to show you when I show you the posts what I discovered on the Eurostar, on their logo. But this was about that tunnel being blocked. This is the bowels, the blocking, very much what I lived with, my dogs being shut in with poo-poo. Luckily my neighbour was walking them, but the man that I paid to sleep here and feed them. It's my fault as well. I had prepared bags of meat. I prepare meat and cut it up and left it in little bags, so they were eating far too much. You know, it's just ridiculous that I left this man. This man has no animal sense whatsoever, but I had thought that he would let them out, walk them in the morning, in the evening, sleep the night there, and my neighbour was going to walk them every day for a long walk, but none of that happened, and the man wasn't here at all. So it was a really shocking what I came back to. That really broke my heart that they had to live that. But you know, I live in you know, in the workplace I live, people do not have the same understanding of animals. All my English friends were really shocked, but you guys have no idea what the French are like with animals. So it's very weird as well. Then when I came back on the 1st of December, the day that my mother died 30 years ago, I told you that I have got this return of Saturn opening my 12th house, which is ruled by Aquarius. I have 3 signs in my 12th house. So I walked into the local bar on the 1st of December and I said, today is 30 years ago that my mum died. And a lovely girl in my village said, well, today is my birthday and my dad died. So that was a lovely woman, English woman in our village, Alice, and her father Bob, who was born on the same day as David Bowie, the same year. So he died at 76. 7 and 6 makes this 13th sign here, this gap. And this girl Alice has a Great Dane dog. And when I came back on the 27th, so there you see Mercury moving in back onto this 13th sign Ophiuchus, Mars moving towards Sagittarius. 24, the day of Christmas, Mercury and Mars are coming up closer. 26, I came back on the 27th, Mercury pets Mars in the tail of Scorpio. And, you know, that's what I faced, the bowels, all the smell. And that next day on the 28th, my friend had gone away and left her dog in a place where they look after animals, but the dog had always been looked after by her father, born on the same day as David Bowie, who died on the same day as my mother, which was the birthday of Alice. And the dog freaked out, and the dog bit through its, you know, in the cage that they put them in these pension places, and the dog ran away. So the dog was a Virgo, Mercury in detriment in Sagittarius, retrograde back to Scorpio. Bob was Sagittarius, Sun here, and the girl who lost her dog is Scorpio, and she was born with Mars exactly where the Sun is. So there was this whole thing going on with the father, the Great Dane dog. This is Mercury in the opposite axis. Sagittarius is big animals, so the Great Dane. And so we spent 2 days, we spent all day Sunday looking for this dog. That's why I wanted to get my newsletter out that day, but we ended up looking for Bacchus. So the dog is called Bacchus. This is the god, the divine, the god of wine. Devin. Divine means of wine. Bacchus, Dionysus, Uranus, Batman, Ophiuchus, Saint Martin de Tours. This is the home of Jupiter, Sagittarius, and this is the home of Mars. That's Martin. And Mercury, the new Dauphin, which is about to take the place of the Black Madonna and the Dauphin. Pluto entered today into back to black Capricorn. Pluto entered here on the 1st of March, 1-3, and came back today on the 3rd of January, 3-1. That makes no longer July, January, Janis Joplin, Janus, but Virgo, the Virgo generation, Mary Magdalene, MM 1313, 1331. So Mercury, the ruler of Virgo, the ruler of Gemini, where we had the full moon on the 27th. So there's the sun, and the moon was in Gemini. So we had a full moon in Gemini after we had a new moon in Scorpio on the 13th of December. We now have a full moon in Gemini. So Mercury is now in Scorpio, where we had the black moon on the 13th, and now we've got a full moon in Gemini in the axis of Valentine and Cupid, which is this new axis northeast southwest that takes over from Corona and Victoria, victorious, the V for victory, Pisces, but that's been turned into Victor, just like Mary and Jesus, when Jesus, the true fixed cross, is Saturn right now at home, ruler of the Twin Peaks, where PlutO has just entered. So PlutO's been making that retrograde back to Sagittarius, and this is why I think tomorrow is going to be a big date. I'm going to show you in a minute what's going on. So at the moment, we've got the tail of the snake on SPICA, where the moon will be tomorrow, south node, and we've got the north node in Pisces. So Jupiter rules Pisces, Jupiter rules Sagittarius, Mercury rules Virgo, and Mercury rules Gemini. So here we've got the full moon, moon in Gemini, and sun in D'Artagnan, on the bow, into the bowels. And we've got Mercury, the ruler of Virgo, where the south node is, and where tomorrow, for the all for one and one for all, the motto of D'Artagnan. I'm going to be showing you a famous French actress died in 2003, Marie Trinette, killed by her lover, a famous French singer in France, for a group called Black Desire, Noir Désir. He beat her up to death, and she played Janis Joplin, and she was in the middle of shooting a film in Lithuania, in Russia, when he killed her. It was a big thing. I was just in my divorce at that time, so that was 21 years ago. We're in 2024 now, 2003, and Mercury is ending his retrograde of this 7/7/21 days, as PlutO has just come back to Capricorn. And tomorrow we've got this half moon on the blue star, Betty Blue, back to black. So her boyfriend was called Bertrand Canton, the two sides of the coin, the quack, the volcano, the explosion. We've just had a volcano, an earthquake in Japan, Jop. So tomorrow something big could happen, is what I'm saying. And we'll get to that. So Mercury is now conjunct to Mars. This dog, Bacchus, this character here, went missing. And I said that he would come back. He came back on New Year's Day. As I said he would. But it was very weird what was going on, because people were saying they found him, they had him in their garden, and then he didn't come. And I was sure they were going to do a big news article about it, because the name Alice and the dog Bacchus was really rising our green gods in the Gaza Gap. So 27th, full moon in Gemini, then Mercury is gaining invisibility, still retrogrades. 30th, 31st, we were all looking for the dog, and Venus is right on that border to enter into Scorpio. Venus rules Taurus, opposite, and Libra, so Venus is in full in Scorpio. Mars still in Scorpio. Oops, don't want that to move around. And then on the 1st of January, Mars moved onto the dart of Sagittarius. We found the dog 1-1, So then we had the earthquake in Japan, that 1177. The two bent angles. The two angles are the corners. Coin coin in French is a corner. It's the duck quack. It's the coin of Janus and Janus, January, Capricorn, Tropic of Capricorn and Cancer. CC makes 33. CC. We're going to have some kind of big bang tomorrow. So Mars has now returned. The ruler of Scorpio hasn't returned, has just entered Sagittarius, and Mercury is back in Scorpio, and now the second Venus has entered Scorpio, and today the third, let's put exactly to now with the time. So today 1-3 or 3-1, it's your MM or your BB, Black Betty, back to black. B is the spear and the 3. The 1 and the 3 together makes the BB. President of Israel is known as BB. So Bridget Bardot, the Virgo girl, and here is the moon right now, and tomorrow we've got the half moon right on Betty Blue. So, and the sun and Mars, yeah, don't be silly with me, I don't know what it is. So, and Pluto back to Capricorn, and Saturn, the true heir. So then we had the Danish queen since 1972, that was the year that Rising Lucifer came out. Lucifer Rising had been queen, and she came down from the throne on, I think it was on the 1-1, we'll see the post in a minute, and the sun is coming in, so the ice queen Capricorn comes down, and we've got little boy Mercury in Scorpio, crowning himself the Ice Queen, the MC Solar. You see? Let's have a closer look here on this chart. So they're never 100% right, but it looks like we've got things. We've got Venus definitely in Scorpio now, Mercury in Scorpio, Mars in Sagittarius, Sun in Sagittarius. Pluto has been saying that he was in Capricorn, but Pluto has been retrograding from Capricorn. That's why Astro Dienst always shows us Pluto in Capricorn. So now Pluto is back to black. Saturn, the true king, at home still, no longer retrograde. No, Uranus still retrograde. He moves forward on the 27th, and then we've got this incredible period of all the planets moving forward. So we've got the moon conjunct to the south node, the tail of the snake, and we've got the north node conjunct to Chiron, the head of the snake in Pisces. So Pisces is ruled by Jupiter, and Mercury rules Virgo. So we've got Mercury in Scorpio, ruled by Mars, and we've got Jupiter in Aries, ruled by Mars. So Mars is in Sagittarius, mutable fire, the ruler of where Mercury and Venus are, and the ruler of where Uranus and Jupiter is. The Sun King, Asia, the Empire. Remember Merlin, the lion? So when we had the earthquake in, we had the earthquake, 1st of January, 1-1, JJ, the Joker, we had, of course, the moon on Regulus, Merlion rising in Asia, the Merlion taking the place of the fish goat as Pluto enters Capricorn, the nanny goats, they're giving us Bill Gates, They gave us in Midnight Express, Billy, the American tourist smuggler, smuggling heroin in Turkey. So, for that earthquake, you see, Moon opposite Saturn, making a square to Venus. Actually, Venus was just entering Scorpio then. Mercury was still retrograde, and Jupiter was still retro. Jupiter's just moved forward on that day, I think. Jupiter, do they say he's still retrograde there? He would have just moved forward. So the earthquake came as Jupiter was making a square to Pluto. Yeah. Uranus in conjunct to Mercury retrograde. But the most important thing there is that moon on Notre Dame. Okay, so let's go through some Facebook things so I can remember everything. I just wrote this now. This just popped up, this story. Here she is, Mary Trinient. So, very vulnerable. This, the Virgo Cinderella, vulnerable. She was wiped out. She was killed, just like Notre Dame fell. Very similar face to Testa d'Urberville, Natasha Skinsky, exactly the same kind of face. Her mother was a director, so she died on the 1st of the 8th, 2003. Well, no, they're giving that information first day, but that was the case going on. She died on the 26th of July, but then the case happened in January, of course. July, January. So she played Betty, you saw that. We got her playing Betty as well. That's the lover, BC, Bertrand Cagnon, BC. So the France is being split between those. So there she played Betty. Oops. Let's cut the sound. So there's the 26th of July. They're filming. So she was filming Colette, the free woman. And I always told you that we had Colette is the famous writer who wrote Gigi 7711. We just had... So, you know, Japan is the home of manga. These very ferocious people, women. So, she was, the director was her mother, Nadine. So, the Capricorn mother, well, the Taurus is the mother, but she's, you know, was an old lady, so that's why I say Capricorn. So there she's playing Janis Joplin, Janice and John, JJ, 2003. She just filmed this with her mother. So it's all very weird. Her father. And she's got weird eyes. And, you know, there's Série Noire she played again. So it's all very perverts. So it's all this Virgo girl. I don't think we have to see any more. So Janis Joplin, I just fell on an old post of Lars. And this was, interesting, 3rd of December, 2 years ago. I am still amazed that the majority of those who call themselves astrologers haven't looked into the cycles of nature, which circumcise their works right above, he's just in the state, right above their heads as alchemical energies. It's amazing that they lay all their eggs in the basket of a computer program which is at least 23.5 degrees out of bounds. Soon it will be Taurus and Scorpio. So now Taurus takes the summer solstice. Scorpio should be taking the winter solstice. So we've gone from Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn. We're now leaving Pisces, the age of Pisces. So Gemini, summer, Sagittarius, winter. And now we go back to a feminine. The tropic should be the Tropic of Scorpio and Taurus. So here's your CC, Janis Joplin. And the northern hemisphere, the silver gates. We've now got the sun that hovers on the wand of Merlin in the north on the summer solstice. 621 to 216 is 6 times 6 times 6. Southern hemisphere is exactly where Mercury has just retrograded from Sagittarius to Scorpio and is now coming back. This is why it's so enormous. And there we see the hunt for the spring equinox and summer solstice. At the current moment, Earth's alignment with the sun tells us that the equinoxes are Pisces and Sagittarius and not Aries and Libra. The tropical summer north is Gemini and the south Sagittarius. In CA 9 years, the solstices will shift to Taurus and Scorpio on the fixed cross. This will bring in the rise of the Ice Queen in Scorpio and the newborn Sun King out of Sagittarius, which is exactly what's happening right now. Just had the Queen of the North step down and the Sun King is being born. Her son, Frederick X, marks the spot. Before humanity reaches the image of the fixed man in Aquarius with the brave heart of Leo, the polar wandering from Polaris to Vega will bring in this energy. So we're in this gap. We're in the gap. Tomorrow, 4-1, the 4th of the 1st, all for one and one for all. Half moon on Betty Blue in Virgo, La Marianne. Marie Trinient, Marie died at age 41. Pearl Harbor was 1941. Japan, opening to the war. In 2003, 21 years ago, Mercury, ruler of Virgo and Gemini, ends 777 21-day retro. She died in July. We are now in January. So the court case was in January 2003. She was killed by her lover singer from Noir Désir, Black Desire. Pluto returned back to black today. Bertrand Cantat, BC, before Christ, 23. She, JJ, Janis Joplin, Janis, two sides of the coin, coin, is corner, corner, quack, quack. January, July, Janis Joplin, JJ, Capricorn, Cancer, CC33 since the end of 2002. Bertrand Cantat no longer lives with his wife, Christina Radi, and maintains a relationship with the actress Marie Trinient. July the 27th, 2003, during an argument in their hotel room in Vilnius in Lithuania, where the actress plays in the TV film Colette, Une Femme Libre. So we've got this new woman, the free woman is rising as Pluto enters Capricorn. This is the activation and liberation of the victim Virgo girl, and we've got these images I saw today on my friend's page. She posted this image: I murder, kids are baby goats. This is the Virgo girl with the Star of David, which is just the merging of the four elements: earth, air, fire, water, the Star of David. And we've got this image of this new, no longer Virgo girl is a virgin. She doesn't have children. They're making her sterile. They killed the mother, Diana, and we've now got Pluto entering Capricorn, and Diana, Taurus, is being made into the Me Too bully. Here's Pluto entering Capricorn. So they're merging Sagittarius with the Black Madonna, and Mercury the child is going to take the MC. So Sagittarius is taking the power of the Capricorn, the Virgo, Pluto and Virgo generation rising, the guru and his child. That's why you see all these young gurus they always have often have a daughter. This is like in Jupiter ascending. You've got the hero, the caped hero with the young girl. just like we saw in the film Léon. Léon, Elon is just a play on Elon Musketeer. So Mercury the Dauphin is on the knee of the hero in Scorpio. As Pluto enters Capricorn, the Sun is in Sagittarius, and Mercury is on the knee of Hercules, the hero of Fucius, the never-ending waging war with the snake. So, where the actress plays in the TV film Colette, a free woman in Femme Libre, Bertrand Cantat strikes her several times, causing a broken nose, internal lesions, and cerebral edema. Bertrand Cantat then carried her to his bed without calling for help. In the middle of the night, he telephones Vincent Trinant, Marie's brother, explaining to him that he hit her. The latter joins the singer in the couple's bedroom. Their versions differ on the course of the hours that follow. Vincent Trinant finally calls for help at 7:15 when he realized that his sister was no longer reacting and was suffering from hemorrhages. Marion Trinant is admitted to Vilnius University Hospital in a deep coma. So maybe she spent a while in coma, but it was a huge affair, and there's something going on with this 4-1 and this tomorrow, that half moon in Virgo. So huge day today. This is today. Moon moved into Virgo before three-quarter waning half moon tomorrow. One for all and all for one, when moon will be on blue star Spica. Pluto entered Capricorn, Black Mama Earth today, 3/1/2024, as Pluto entered 1/3/2023 before returning retro back to Sagittarius and today back to Capricorn. Last time Pluto was in Capricorn was 1776. Jupiter and Aries moving forward. Jupiter, ruler of Sagittarius and Mars, ruler of Aries, just in Sagittarius, and Sun in Sagittarius. Saturn, ruler of Twin Peaks, Aquarius, Capricorn, at home in the true air, Aquarius on Fomalhaut. Tomorrow is a big pop-off day. Black Betty Blue activation of Pluto in Virgo generation, and Jupiter merging with High Cardinal Capricorn and rising Virgo Mercury as the new air Dauphin and Black Madonna. 1331, 1313 MM Mary Magdalene is back to black. So there's the images today. 1-3 Sun, as we saw, Mars, Mercury, Venus. There is, as I've shown you, so that's today, Pluto entering, and that was on the 1st of March in 2023. Pluto first entered Capricorn. And on that day, we had Mercury conjunct Saturn and the Sun in Aquarius. So you see, when Pluto entered Capricorn, that was the true family of Pluto, Mercury and Saturn. This true family here. And now we've got today the Sun in Sagittarius with Mercury, Venus and Mars, but just over this galactic gap. And that was in 1776. Got the bullseye coming up everywhere. This is in Norway. Me writing my little things. Both Jupiter and Mercury now moving forward. Jupiter, ruler of Pisces, where head of snake north node is, and Mercury, ruler of Virgo, where south node tail of snake is. Half moon conjunct Spica, Virgo, on the 4th of the 1st, all for one and one for all. Elon Musketeer, currently Jupiter in Aries, Mercury in Scorpio. Jupiter, ruler of Sagittarius and Pisces, Mercury, ruler of Gemini, Virgo. Aries, Scorpio, where Jupiter, Mercury sit, both ruled by Mars. Mars now in Sagittarius, in the GG Galactic Gaza Gap. So Colette wrote the book Gigi, G-I-G-I, about a Lolita, about the same as My Fair Lady. It's the story of when the clock strikes 12 and Cinderella is no longer a maid, but she's made into a princess, into a queen. And this is the chance for Mercury to rise with his So Little Boy Blue, the UN, and the Black Madonna. And that is what these images are. I Murder Kid. So the Black Madonna and her kid. This is not the nanny goat. This is not Inanna. This is the Virgo girl. She doesn't want children. So, now it's in the GG galactic gas. Gas is gas. Pluto in Capricorn, gas. Are they going to let, I always say, when are they going to set off for 2024, Year of the Dragon? Are we going to have a burning snake across my land with all the gas pipes? I'm reading the book about where I live, and it really is just crazy. It will be 100 years. It was written in 1824, or 90. Yeah, was it written? No, it was written in 1824. So that's was it? No, 1924. It was written about my village. So we've got this character who reads the news every day with his bell. So in only 100 years. And the writer, William J. Hudson, is talking about this bell ringer, and he's called Victor Clavier, so VC. So we've gone from CV to VC, as I was explaining to you, Corona and Victor to Valentine and Cupid. And he's saying, just talking about the village being a place which was like in the Middle Ages, where time stopped. You know, I'm in this galactic gap. I'm right here. That's why Will and Kate came here, and I'm on the vortex. It's as if there's, you know, I came back from England very ill because I live, although there's a lot of stuff that goes on here, I'm in Aignan, the hate on. It can flip from love to hate. There's a lot of, you know, terrible things. My dog sacrificed and lots of stuff like that. But there's also this ability to be between in that Narnia gap. To be in that Narnia gap. I've always said that my forest is the woods of C.S. Lewis. This gap, you know, of the wardrobe. Wardrobe in French is an armoire. Armoire. Arm is a weapon, or your arm, and it's the alcohol here. Armagnac. They've made this month of January the month of no drinking alcohol. So Uranus is on Algol at the moment. This is the moment of distillation where you can come in and out of flesh and spirit. And they've announced in the newspapers that nobody should drink alcohol for a month. You know, when normally they're pushing alcohol on everybody left, right and centre. So in a way it's saying don't transmute, don't turn to spirits. We've got you stuck in the gap. Uranus moves forward in Aries under Algol, alcohol distillation, January the 27th. Mercury, Venus, both in Scorpio today, and Mercury returns to Sagittarius in detriment again. So we'll have Mercury and Venus in detriment, Mercury in Sagittarius and Venus in Scorpio, each side of this gap. Again, after retro in Scorpio on 111 for the new moon in Sagittarius as Venus in fall in Scorpio. So then we've got the new moon in Sagittarius coming up on the 11th. So there we go. There's the moon. So new moon in Sagittarius with Mercury fully back into Sagittarius in detriment and very visible, with Mars and Venus in fall in Scorpio, and Mars the ruler in Sagittarius, and Mars the ruler with the sun, and a new moon as Jupiter is now moving forward in Aries. And then on the 27th, what have we got going on on the 27th. This will be around the time of the new full moon. So then we're going to have the sun in Capricorn and that moon. So the full moon will be, yeah, it's going to be going over the Solomon Passage. So the full moon's probably going to be, I haven't looked into it yet, but it'll probably be around the 26th. We're going to have that Janis Joplin, 26th of January. This woman I was saying died on the 26th of July. January, Capricorn. July, Cancer. So Uranus will move forward on that day, and we're going to have Mars and Mercury conjunct, and Venus by then in Sagittarius. Right. So Jane Birkin died this year at 76. At the Cannes Film Festival, we had 7 minutes ovation for Jean de Barry, JB, Jane Birkin, Boaz Jacquin, Solar Lunar Pillars, and 9-minute ovation for Killers of the Flower Moon. That's just the 6 flipped. 7 and 6 is 13, and this is the age of the man in my village who died. He was completely fine. He was at the birthday of his daughter, and that night he died. And then when I came back from England, his dog, the Great Dane Bacchus, went missing. And then on the same day that we found the dog Bacchus, a 7.6 magnitude earthquake struck the Noto Peninsula at around 4:10. There's your 4-1. 4-1 again for tomorrow local time, and had a magnitude of 7.6 on the Japanese seismic intensity scale. 7th seal, last leg, and 6th seal. So 2023 223 makes 7, and 2024 422 makes 8. So they want to keep us in 7-6-13, when 2024 should be a beautiful, wonderful year of the wood dragon and finding that 8 Orus Boreas, completion of the Milky Way. But we're being kept in 7th seal, eternity, and last leg, 6th seal, death. So 7-6-13, Gaza War began the night of the 6th to the 7th, and the 10th month, which is October, but which is actually Capricorn, 10th house. Mercury stationary and moves forward 3-1, as Pluto does 3-1. So we've had Mercury move forward, Pluto arrive in Capricorn, and January the 1st is 1-1, which makes AA Aquarius 7-7, 2 bent knees, angles, 2 sides of the coin of Janus. 4th of January, 4-1, earthquake at 4:10. Pearl Harbour, PH Harry Potter harmonic procession, PH Holland Park, Paris Hilton, was in 1941, Pearl Harbour. 4-1, half moon on SPICA, blue star Virgo, head on snake in Pisces, tail in Virgo, conjunct half moon on 4-1, all 4-1, and 1 for all makes 5. 14 pieces of Osiris. Pluto enters Capricorn after 244 years away, from mutable fire to high cardinal Gaza gap, Earth. The Cap, Peak, Capricorn, Mother Goat, the true fish goat, not the Merlin Joker, the 3113, MM Mary Magdalene, man by man, mile by mile, Mickey Mouse, Marilyn Monroe. 1313 is BB 3-1 2024 after returning this March 1-3, which everything I've just been explaining to you. Then going retro back to Jupiter's home, Cape Tira, this is the Pluto. Told you all this, I'm just repeating it. Jupiter's home, Cape Tira, Sagittarius, Asia. Pluto returns to the Cap, back to Black Peak, Capricorn, picnic in 2 days. So we're now there, 3-1. Mercury the Dauphin sits on the knee of Ophiuchus. Fake Gigi Galactic green god gap. Pisces, Europe, Scorpio is killed, and Asia rises, birthing 311, 3 Gemini, 11 Aquarius. So 311 was Fukushima. Mercury, ruler of Gemini, 3 Virgo, Gemini 3, Virgo 6, and Pluto leaves Jupiter's home, Sagittarius 9, 369, the line broke, the monkey, the moon key gets choked, moves forward, Saturn in Aquarius, 11th house. The attack on Pearl Harbor was a surprise military strike by the Imperial Japanese Navy Air Service upon the United States against the American naval base at Pearl Harbor in Honolulu, Hawaii, just before 8 a.m. on Sunday, December the 7th, 1941, at 4:10 p.m. Wow. So same as this earthquake, 4:10 local time. So there again, all those images. There's your Merlin. There's your 3-1. Same as the needles that we see in the Isle of Wight, Pisces. And now we're going to Sagittarius, Asia. Jupiter rules Pisces. We have in the Isle of Wight, all my stories about Mary Ryan. The Pisces Virgo axis is over. We're now in the Cupid and Valentine masculine axis. Asia, 3-1. Those 3 needles we see in at the Isle of Wight as well. So there's your 777, 111, and the Merlin. Merlion. We've even got that 1 there. That is that 1st of January I showed you. Big square from the moon. That opposition. That's tomorrow. I've got another time going on here. I've got 12:30 p.m. in Japan, so that's why it's upside down from the other chart I showed you. Merlin, Miranda, tomorrow's moon, an old picture, but at the summer solstice 2023, there we have the sun on the wand, no longer in Gemini, in between Gemini and Taurus, the first sign of the fixed cross. Sun is actually on Taurus and then moves into Gemini. So 311 Fukushima, and there tomorrow we've got Mercury right on the sting of that tail, and Venus right on Antares, and Mars right on the dart of the dart in Enyon. What's going to happen? Maybe something will happen in my Enyon. Hope not. We've got the 2 pillars. That's what they showed us of Fukushima. Not Fukushima, the earthquake, the Lion Gates. So these are the images of Lars. So for the winter solstice, we've got Leo and Virgo. So Japan is right over this Virgo, and Gemini is right under by Gaza. So Mercury, where we've got the killings of the children. Mercury, Aquarius at this time is in South America, and Sagittarius is with Scorpio right on the Hawaii, right on Hawaii. Pearl Harbor. Okay, so I wrote about the abduction of the Queen of Denmark with DNA, Tribe of Dan, and Lars sent this wonderful picture. So officially the Queen of Denmark will abdicate on the 14th of January. That makes 7-7, so the same as 1-1. So we've just had 1-1 is 7-7, 14. Again, we've got the 4 and the 1. Tomorrow is the 1-4. On this day, Mercury will be in the left. I can't read, it's underneath that. In the left, the head of the snake, Ouroboros, the Milky Way, above Adam's calendar in Kruger Park. And the opposite energy will be on the Wand of Merlin, located above Hawaii. The transfer of the energy from the Ice Queen to the little boy blue, Mercury. So Lars has showed me how to do this, and I would have to go back and think. But he puts so that he's got, he points to the area he wants, and then he gets that green spot there. And he's got Mercury, Venus, Mars, Sun. So let's go and have a look at the 14th of January. Okay, I tried to do what Lars did, but I make those 2 marks, so I make it exactly interesting. I make on the 1-4 by putting the arrow where he had the arrow, Regulus, and on Aquarius, and we're going to have a Saturn and Moon conjunction on that day, as on the 1-1 we had Moon in Leo, and I make that green, and in his image he's got the green here and Mercury, so in Hawaii, so Mercury in Hawaii, that's what he's showing us. This is the 5-5, the Hawaii 5-0, the 2 sides. 1036, maybe that's 10. Okay, there we go. That's the same. Well, I won't have the same. Yeah, I do have. So now we've got the Wand of Merlin, and we've got the other right on Mercury. Right, so now we've got the same as Lars, but he's saying, and the opposite energy will be on the Wand of Merlin located above Hawaii. Right. So what was I saying? I'll explain. So Lars gave me this picture after I'd written this, and then I added the picture because it's better. So I'll explain when I have time. Too much work this week, so much going on, but I don't have time to explain at the mo. Pluto moves into Capricorn 3113 MM. Mercury, Mars just crossed paths as they met on the knee of the hero 13th sign Ophiuchus. Mercury stationary and moves forward tomorrow. Mercury will leave retro zone, finishing crossing shadow over the GG galactic gap on the 19th of January. Margaret 2. So Marguerite, that's Mars. Marguerite is a daisy. Daisy 2. Daisy is Mercury. Mars, Mercury, Denmark, tribe of Dan, DNA, ADN, over. 23, twin Mercury. So 23 is BC. That's the guy who killed this woman called Bernard Quentin. BC, 23 twin Mercury DNA strands from feminine axis CV Corona Victor IAI to masculine axis Valentine Cupid VC. Jupiter in Aries about to move forward, now moving forward, and Uranus in Aries about to move forward too. That's on the 27th. Jupiter crowns himself King of DNA, tribe of Dan, for the arrival of Pluto in Capricorn, home of Saturn. Saturn in Aquarius. Denmark's queen has unexpectedly announced her abdication in her traditional New Year's Eve speech. Margaret too will formally step down from the throne on the 14th of January. So as the wand of Merlin. We've got Mercury right on the wands. So Ophiuchus, the constellation, so that will be exactly 52 years to the day of her ascension to the throne in 1972. So 5-7 makes 7. Ophiuchus, the constellation is described in the astrological poem of Marcus Manilius, they've got the MM again, as the one that winds and loops, but bending its supple neck, the serpent looks back and returns, and the other's hands slide over the loosened coils. The struggle will last forever, since they wage it on level terms, with equal powers. Later in his poem, he describes the astrological influence of Ophiuchus when the constellation is in its rising phase as one which offers affinity with snakes and protection from poisons, saying he renders the forms of snakes anconucus to those born under him. They will receive snakes into the folds of their flowing robes and will exchange kisses with these poisonous monsters and suffer no harm. A later 4th century astrologer known as Anonymous of 379 associated the bright star of Ophiuchus with doctors, healers or physicians, which may have been because of the association between poisons and medicines. The 83-year-old monarch will succeed by her eldest son, Crown Prince Frederick, who will become Frederick X. Yep. A comment on that post from a friend. How funny how a poisonous snake interrupted a tennis game yesterday. Deadly snake interrupts Dominic Thiem match at Brisbane International. Eastern brown snake appears on court. So when I was in New Zealand at PR, New Zealand is the Virgin Land. They don't have snakes. They don't have snakes in Hawaii. They don't have snakes in Iceland. And they don't have snakes in islands. Those are the 4 virgin corners, the 4 places that VirgO has been. So the new land of the Virgin is Australia, and they've got this snake appearing. Okay, interesting. Also, someone alerted me to an anagram of serpent being present. A present is also a gift, and gift means poison in Danish. Interesting. Okay, somebody was sharing this image that I've shared often. Here you've got VirgO and Capricorn. Pluto enters Capricorn. Where's the mother? Brigitte Bardot was known as the woman that abandoned her son, who was called Nikola Bullseye, Nikola Tesla. So she abandoned her son, and she's been known as the sex kitten symbol and as the old woman fighting for the right of animals. And she's now, you know, very political and part of this new rising France and the group, the Insoumis, which is a new party in France. That, you know, we're not lying down. It's the new. So you can read that there. I explain that there. This is lovely Bacchus, the dog that has now been found, but that was another incredible story. I did, you know, this is the kind of thing I'm very good at. If you need me for readings, I managed to do for her in 14 minutes. Can you imagine? Because obviously I know my friends have no patience for me and how I speak and my astrology. And I know this girl particularly has no patience for me, although I think she's very grateful that we found her dog. But I did her a 14-minute video explaining what was going on in the sky, and that her father was Sagittarius and that she's Scorpio and the dog was VirgO, and that Mercury was in detriment, and that he was going to move forward, and that she would find her dog, and the dog had the same name as this Bacchus, the divine. So the same thing in France. There's massive stories going on of Depardieu. So Depardieu, Gérard Depardieu, he did the big film, Look at the Face, It's terrible now, but he actually looks exactly like my ex-husband. And all these men, all these old-fashioned French men, which is very much my ex-husband, they're all being called up and being accused of, you know, being just big beasts. And it was completely acceptable when I was a young woman in France. It was completely acceptable to be really terrible. So he's been in many, if you see, départ de Dieu means, départ means to leave God's. God's gone. And so he's all in the papers because it's showing us God's gone, and the divine, the god of wine, devin has moved in. God's gone, and he, you know, his son was died. You know, these poor patsy actors are used for these images. So he's done many films, and one of them was The Goats. The Goats. Depardieu. I don't know a lot, but I have covered briefly an old, it's called The Chèvre. The goat, Le Chèvre. So this is him young, and look, we've got the pan music, of course, like in Picnic at Hanging Rock. So look, the only man who can find her is a man as unlucky as she is. So there's going to be loads of clues. I'll give it all I've got. Let's go, then go to bed. I'm staying on deck, and what are you going to do? Question a witness. Goat. So we've got the Mexican and the American hats. So North America, South America, and France, the French Olympics, rising. Gérard. Quicksand. That didn't show any quicksand, so yeah. It's definitely a film to look into. I have never had the patience to watch all the way through and also I get too emotional looking at all these things because I see through it all, and I can't waste my energy like that. A lovely image of my village. You see the Pyrenees, there's the North Polaris, the Pic du Midi right here, and at this time of year it is like a three-dimensional, or it's really as if you could touch the mountains. Yeah, this was when I came back and I just managed to get all my house cozy and clean again. And this is the book, I'm reading it now. So Appy, Planet of the Apps. Abby, Abba, and Pierre is the stone. It's the third eye. So Forgotten Books, you can go and order that book. 39. So here he's talking about Victor Claverie. So VC. The man who runs our village bar is called Christian Vivaldi. He's from the family of the Four Seasons of Vivaldi, an Italian man. So I joked with him. I said to him the other day, I'm CV, you're VC. And so I just put those pages 38 as they're talking about our village. It is as if the waves of the Middle Ages had washed up this relic of its life here on time's shores. There is no time here. Our main street is Saint-Saturnin. It's like you really lose sense of time. Certainly a magic place. So yeah, I just put images. You can read that. So again, I have just been covering everything I've been explaining to you. Mercury retro back in Scorpio and conjunct Mars in Scorpio on the knee of Hercules, green god Ophiuchus. Before Mars, ruler of Scorpio and Aries, enters mutable fire, Sagittarius. Jupiter, ruler of Sagittarius and Pisces, still in Aries. Retro on the eye of Cetus, and Sun in Sagittarius on the eye. So this was the day that the dog went missing. I didn't know that. I let you read that because I'm going to be going over everything I've been saying, but it did end up being a big day. Mercury and Mars conjunct in Scorpio. Images of Mary, Ryan, and my old neighbour where I used to live sent me pictures of the church where my family are at the moment. Where I used to live, northeast, and now I'm in southwest, marking that line. So this is the church that was in our garden. This is one of the oldest churches in France. And my village was called Mary in the Valley. So I am Pisces, my ex-husband was Virgo. I have Saturn conjunct to my sun in Pisces, and my husband has Saturn conjunct to his Virgo. So Saturn old, and we lived in the nunnery. It's where the nuns, Virgo. And this is our the back garden. So Mary Ryan making the cross. This is my neighbour sending me the image of the view of the church from her garden. Mary Ryan with a Frenchman. It's funny. And that was a new picture. I'd never seen that picture of her. Again, she's sending me another picture of the back of the church. Okay. Finished. This was on my way back on the Eurostar. New northeast southwest axis of Isis from CV322 Corona Victor IAI to VC223 Cupid Valentine. Mutable cross flip flop. So you've got your Pac-Man, feminine axis, mutable black earth, white water, solar worship, Corona Virgo, Mercury, and spiritual Pisces, Jude Pete to masculine axis, air, fire, lunar worship, red, yellow, gangster, Sagittarius, Jude Paul, the GG, galactic, Gaza Gap, new axis. So that's the logo. We've got the star, we've got the Chi-Rho, we've got the sword in the stone, we've got the Chi-Rho, the mutable cross, and we've got this Pac-Man showing us this new axis here, northeast, southwest. Milky Way there, you can see very clearly that axis there on the Eurostar. So on the 12th to the 27th, the sun was right on the teapot. There's Gaza, northeast, southwest. Jordan is straight. We've got this mother of pearl images in the sky at the moment. And there's your compass. There's the route of D'Artagnan. And there's the new film out at the moment on the Three Musketeers. It's 111. We've got a new moon in Sagittarius on the 11th of the 1st. 111. And marking that axis again. Three Musketeers, and the Queen got Jupiter ascending with the girl. There's cutting that 1 and 2. Quadrant, and that 45-degree angle of the mutable cross, cutting that there. Three-dimensional coordinate plane. Cupid and Valentine, they show the same angle. Okay, all those images. And here is our image of, in this very gap where Mercury is retrograded between Sagittarius and Scorpio, we had a new moon in Scorpio on the 13th of December. We had a full moon on the 27th in Gemini, Sagittarius, and we're going to have a new moon in Sagittarius as Mercury has been going back between Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter, Scorpio ruled by Mars. That's Saint-Martin de Tours. And there, as I was in the taxi, I saw the big signposts up for the film all over Paris. And there we are. An image of the solstice of the sun at Stonehenge. You know, this is the vertical, but should it not be the horizon? Whilst I was in Paris, I was able to go and see my old neighbour. I used to live at 32 Rue Jean Mermoz. I did a little film. You can see the little film. So here you see that this is the road, Rue Jean Mermoz. That was my flat, at number 32 at the top. I lived on the top floor, and there is the Israel embassy. And here is Baba, who's now moved opposite. He's no longer at 32. And his birthday is today. And my new neighbour, I now live in the 32nd apartment where they hold the jazz festival, Jazz in Marciac. So that's JM, Jupiter Mercury. This is Rue Jean Mermoz, Jupiter Mercury, where the Israel embassy is. This is the days when I was doing nightlife, and I used to strut up and down this road. I'd go into all the restaurants, say hi to everybody. I mean, my heart is just always open and full of love for everybody. I don't care. But, you know, then I had my awakening, and I've spent the past 13 years, 15 years going down that hole. But that was nice to go back. And now my new neighbour here, it's her birthday today as well. So on this 3rd of the 1st, 3131 1313. I thought that was funny. It's my Baby Boo, the most lovely man in the world. Baby Boo. Baby Boo is incredibly spiritual. He's Sagittarius, so all the people come and sit here in his salon, and he gives you tea and looks after you. And you know, he only lets people that he loves in, but there are therefore a lot of celebrities. But then there's also the local hooker who lives on the corner of the road. There's weird people like me. You know, there's all types of people that Baba brings together in his salon. And it's a home and a place where a lot of love is shared in Baba's salon. So I was able to see him as I was going from train to train station. I hadn't seen him for 7 years. He came down to see me here in Aignan. Interesting. Yeah, when I first came to live here, he came. This was me getting stuck. I was correct. Storm Pier. It was called Storm Pier, the name of the where Storm Pier. Storm Pier, New Zealand floods. So remember the floods that I was in Pier. They did a news report. So incredible. There was a storm. So, well, you know, this is Pier. There's Lions Rock. So my daughter, she lost her whole house. That's all the flooding of where we were. So the storm Pier, nowhere I can get to England, obviously. Mercury blinded in Sagittarius. I knew it. Stuck in Paris now. Wrote this on December the 1st. So I wrote this. Lucifer rising, orange warning, hundreds of Eurostar. Europe is the Scorpion, Sun, Mars on the heart of Scorpio and Taurus. Mercury on the dart from D'Artagnan. Passengers stranded on broken down train with no working toilets. Scorpio, plumbing, drains, toilets. So exactly what happened to me coming back with my dog's Mercury, and they were stuck in a room and they couldn't go to the loo. You know, and there was loads of flooding going on in England, and you know, the tunnel, Scorpio, that's the tunnel. For 8 hours, 8 cycle of Venus, 8 to make 5-pointed star, last leg, about 700 Eurostar passengers, there's your 7, have been stranded on a broken down train with no power or working toilets for more than 8 hours. The Amsterdam bound service, that is the journey of D'Artagnan from Matrix, from Holland to St. Pancras, so your kidneys, Venus, as scheduled at 8:16. So I was new, so look, I was writing, whoa, BB 1313, MM Mickey Mouse, Black Betty rising as Lucifer, Amsterdam, Dutch, orange, warning of what's to come. Within the family, she was also known informally as Dutch, a reference to her Duchess-like attitude. So that's Princess Diana was known as Dutch. On the 30th of August 1961, Diana was baptized at St. Mary Magdalene Church, Sandringham. She grew up with 3 siblings, Sarah, Jane and Charles. The European route of D'Artagnan is the first European cultural equestrian route which connects Lupiac, it's where I am, one Gers, birthplace of the famous musketeer D'Artagnan, to Maastricht, Netherlands, where the latter was killed. The initiary made up of 32, that's 23 BCCB thematic routes, crosses 6 countries, including France, with 2 routes passing through Saumur, Val de Loire, Italy, Belgium, Germany, Spain, and the Netherlands. Eventually, more than 6 marked kilometres will be open to riders across Europe. So that's what I'd written on the 1st of December. That happened. That was the day that Saturn was on my moon. My mother had died 30 years before, and this man, Bob, in my village died. So this is saying hi to you, Bob. I got all your messages loud and clear. Yeah, I know when people are trying to talk to me, it gives me goosebumps. So yeah, he was born on the same day as David Bowie. Bowles. Right. Me back to my last video. Fantastic. Back. Go and see my last video if you haven't seen it. And I did a post just after I did that video, so I'm going to put it in here. PlutO cycle 1776 to 2024, over. The term MacarOni pejoratively referred to a man who exceeded the ordinary bounds of fashion in terms of high-end clothing, fastidious eating and gambling. So we have, this is to do with MacarOni. Yankee Doodle is not what you think. So I will put all this in the newsletter that I'm going to try and get done before Friday lunch, where Wednesday night I'm working all day tomorrow. So I'm going to try all night tonight to do my newsletter, which can take me up to, you know, a good 10 to 20 hours. So I've got to try and do it faster. But look at that. There's your Jean de Barry, Yankee Doodle. The film Jean de Barry that I've been talking about all last year. Jean de Barry. So John Barry did the music for James Bond. And then we had last year, I was talking about this film, John Barry with Johnny Depp. And there you've got Jean de Barry going back to this Georgian time. So you can see through, though the song set to an upbeat melody appears to satirize Americans, it is today treated as a patriotic anthem. Anyone who is not given proper context that Yankee Doodle was originally created by the British to ridicule Americans, and that American soldiers reclaimed it during the Revolutionary War, might well question the point of the song. So, what are the real words to Yankee Doodle? The lyrics that George Washington probably heard sung to the tune of Yankee Doodle are not the words known around the world. The earliest known appearance of the common words relating to pony feather and macaroni is in James Orchard's Halliwell's The Nursery Rhymes of England, No earlier reference to these lyrics have been found. Washington probably did not know the chorus about minding the music and the step. It comes from the Boston area in 1775 and was set up to the tune we all know. The song must have struck home because by 1830 over 100 more topical lyrics were printed, sung to the same tune and using the same basic chorus in the 20th century. This chorus was added to the MacarOni verse from 1842. So this was because of what was in the French newspapers that I saw on this day. I did this on the 20th of December, just before the day I left. We've got the immigration law, the immigration, travel, Gemini, Robin, Batman, Sagittarius, Cupid and Valentine. Sagittarius is travel, other lands, other countries. These are the Robin Hood lawbreakers, makers. This is the immigration. 59, that's 56 again here. So there's your wheel. There is what they show us. The immigration, the law to poison. So again, we just saw about the tribe of Dan, the snake, the poison. I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy, a Yankee Doodle do or die, a real live nephew of my Uncle Sam. So back to black, Pluto and Uncle Sam, born on the 4th of July. I've got a Yankee Doodle sweetheart. She's my Yankee Doodle joy. Yankee Doodle came to London just to ride a pony. I am that Yankee Doodle boy. Mercury. Little boy blue. Laurent Joffrin, the king is naked. We've got men in black. Exactly the same image. Exactly the same image that I did on my last video. You see the two policemen picking up Eddie Murphy in Trading Places. That is the same image of the front of my last video. There it is. And the newspaper said the roi est nu, the king is naked, the emperor's naked. They're telling us it's a fake Ark of Covenant, it's the wrong cornerstone. And these are the macaronis. And then we had on the front page of the newspapers, Macron was called MacarOni. It's the Big Dipper. Tribe of Dan. Queen has just stepped down. The two coins, the coin, the 1-1, the Janus, the coins of January, July, the two sides of winter and summer. And the key, look, we've got I am, and we've got NZ New Zealand, the two directions of the how, wow, I, 5-0. And you've got the two sides of the alphabet from A to M and N to Z. The G on the left hand, the T on the right hand. This is very interesting, this image. Have a look at that. And the Z on the omega. Alpha, omega. Doodle. Flip-flop point. We're at the flip-flop point. That's why all the names of the villages were flipped. Pointing her Jupiter finger. Island, the eruption, volcano. Have a look at those images. It's all an ambolic pot of alchemy, everything. So now you're a complete macaroni. Yeah. Top hat, Sagittarius and the teapot of the Mad Hatters. So those who cannot see that we've got the true king in Aquarius, and we're going to have on the 14th of the 1st, Saturn and Moon conjunct. And back to right now, Saturn right on that teapot, on the handle of the teapot constellation of Sagittarius, Mars on the dot, Mercury on the knee, Venus on Antares, and that is only going to be more tomorrow. We'll have Moon and Venus conjunct on the 8th, Moon and Mercury on the knee on the 9th, and then the new moon on the 1/1. Okay, darlings, I'm glad that I was able to do this. I just have to do my newsletter now, and I will be 1 week with my daughter, and then full steam ahead. All the planets are moving forward. The offer I have kept until the 21st of January. So go ahead, book your readings for the year with a 20% discount. And I will be fully back to working, being able to do 4 or 5 readings a week from the 16th of January. My daughter will be with me until the 16th, so from this Friday to the 16th. Okay, my darlings, happy dragon, wood dragon, new year. And I love you very much, and talk to you again soon. Bye for now.